Welcome to another Triathlon Podcast, the podcast that brings the electrifying world of triathlons right into your headphones. Journey into captivating conversations, share the excitement of race recaps, enjoy the humor only a triathlete would understand, and join us as we debunk myths and bring you the bare, thrilling truths of the triathlon world. So feel your heart pound, breathe in anticipation, and get ready to dive into the world of triathlon. This is another Triathlon Podcast. Enjoy the ride.
Welcome to the first episode of another Triathlon Podcast presented by Mauna Endurance. I'm your host, Jenna, alongside my co-host, Fede.
Hello, Jenna. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Enjoying the Hawaiian sun for a change, which is always a positive in this world of triathlon.
Absolutely. In kind of the iconic spot in triathlon, you're over in Kona right now?
Oh, yeah. I'm in Kona, racing this weekend with a couple of Mauna athletes. It's going to be a deep race for the women. There's Kona spots for grabs, so that's going to make it very, very interesting. And on the men's side, there is World Championship slots for Nice and for the 70.3 Worlds. So definitely an exciting race to be part of.
Absolutely. And we'll have to jump onto a recap of that next week. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, which is all of you, we're going to take a bit of time to introduce ourselves, kind of tell you a little bit about who the voices behind this podcast are, and tell you a little bit about how we got into triathlon. We're both triathlon coaches through Mauna Endurance, and we have a passion for everything swim, bike, run, and endurance sports. So we're going to have some fun along the way, talk about triathlon, have some cool segments, do race recaps, take questions from you, the audience. We want to have another triathlon podcast, but with a little bit more of a fun spin and a little more interaction from the audience. But don't worry, we'll have on the pro triathletes, we'll get some training advice, and just have a good time with that. How's that sound, Fede?
That's amazing. That's what we needed, right? Just another triathlon podcast. And I think we're going to have so much fun. It's going to be amazing to have pros share their experiences and, of course, us sharing the knowledge of what we know and, you know, getting this beautiful sport out there, which I think it's amazing to be part of.
Absolutely. And coming up, we'll have a few fun segments like the What the F moment of the week and some pro race recaps. But we're going to start off introducing ourselves. So, Fede, let's start with you. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how you got into triathlon and how you got started on this coaching journey?
Yeah, I'll go first. So hello, everyone. My name is Fede, short for Federico. I'm originally from Mexico City. And, you know, my journey in this sport has been a little bit of luck and a little bit of, fate. I grew up playing team sports, baseball, football, and, back in the day, running was usually a punishment for us team sport athletes. It meant that you did something wrong on the field. So in my mind, I always saw running as a bad thing, which to me was very confusing because I've always enjoyed running. You know, I feel alive when I run, and I always enjoyed that part. But grew up playing that, and then went to university, and as you do in university, I just went partying with my friends all night and doing the college life. And one good day, a friend of mine invited me to run the Chicago Marathon. And because he runs a marathon each year to raise funds for cancer research, because sadly his mom passed away due to cancer. And my dad, he is a cancer survivor. So it was a no-brainer for me to, jump in. And after doing that, my brain went, okay, what's harder than a marathon? And here we are.
Ironman, it's kind of the cool down of the race is the marathon. So you definitely chose something a little bit longer, a little bit harder.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't know anything about the sport back then. I didn't even know how to shift gears on my bike, so I was a complete newbie. I wore compression socks on my first Olympic distance triathlon, which is, oh my God, if you see
So
the
did I.
pictures, just horrible.
Oh man, we will definitely
Just
have to talk about some fashion
horrible.
fails.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I wanted to do just one and brag about it, but something inside me just ignited the spark, and I just loved it. I love the sense of accomplishment you get when you race and when you train, and for me it's a lifestyle now. Putting together this triathlon lifestyle around my everyday life, family, friends, work, everything. It's just something that adds up to my life, and I just love it. And I like to share everything that I can with my friends and with my fellow triathletes, all the people in Lycra out there. So yeah, I just love this sport and happy to be on this journey with every one of you. What about you, Jenna? What got you into the sport of triathlon?
Yeah, I had actually a very different background coming into the sport. I was overweight all my life and never played sports growing up, never played any team sports. It wasn't until I reached a point where I had gained so much weight in my early 20s where I noticed I actually had stretch marks on my thighs. And that was like a very defining moment in my life. And I was like, something has to change. Like I'm slowly killing myself with food at this point. I felt terrible, wasn't doing anything active. So when I noticed that, it was actually that day I went into a gym that was near my office at the time and signed up with a personal trainer, and they happened to have a weight loss competition going on. And
Really?
and I quickly found out I am very competitive. I just always sucked at sports, so I just never really got into any competitions. But yeah, I would end up losing about 50 pounds through that weight loss competition. And get this, I got second. I was so
No
loved,
way.
right? First place was
No way.
a trip to Las Vegas, and I got second, so I got a hoodie.
Oh, well, there you go.
But a life of health and fitness and all that junk. But anyways, I really wanted to go to Las Vegas.
Hey, I mean, you got it done.
Exactly. But after that, I would gain and lose 30 pounds every few years because what I looked like wasn't enough motivation to keep the weight off.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually ended up finding a love for carbon fiber and two wheels racing super sport motorcycles for a while once I did get the weight off. But
wow.
Yeah, that was kind of fun to mix it up and go for a little speed at that time. But it wasn't until I found like triathlon that I was able to keep the weight off, because the mindset kind of switched from it being about what I look like was not enough motivation to just seeing what my body could do and what it was actually capable of. And like I said, once I did my first 5K race, it was like, ooh, I like this racing. I'm really competitive, and this kind of, fed that need for that competition.
I feel you 100%. Yeah, 100%. Were you always, I mean, now we know you are super competitive and you're an amazing athlete. So, but like thinking back as a kid, were you competitive, or did you always buy into this narrative that you were not competitive and, the good girl and, just smiling all the time?
Yeah. So I was around other people as pretty introverted and shy and very, very quiet, more into my books than anything. But if you ask my mom, apparently playing board games, I was an absolute nightmare because that's where the competitive nature came out to play.
I mean,
there. We banned board games.
I've seen relationships fail because of a Monopoly game. So,
Man, once you get in, especially Monopoly, it's so long too. You got to get that win.
Oh yeah, you always got to get that W for sure.
Yeah. So did that, and so I guess that competitiveness was always there. I just wasn't any good at anything to really let it out until I found triathlon. And it was, when I kind of moved actually down to Texas for a while and was looking for a way to kind of meet new people and get out there. I ended up finding a running club. Hated running every single step for the first 3 weeks. Just did not like it, but it was an excuse to get out and see people. And like I said, just wanted to keep the weight off. But I did that first 5K, and that's when I got entirely sucked into it. And I've got a bad habit of jumping into things just all in too much too soon, and decided to start training for a marathon soon after. Did my first,
as you do.
Did my first half marathon 10 weeks later, started training for a marathon, and got a pelvic stress fracture, which I didn't know was a thing. Don't do what I did.
How do you get a pelvic stress fracture training for a half marathon or a marathon?
60-mile weeks about 2 months after you started running, not recommended.
Yes.
It was not a good idea.
That'll do it.
But it was actually after that fracture, the doctor recommended some swimming or biking or low impact stuff to kind of get some blood flow to the area to help the recovery. And ended up I didn't know how to swim. I could not drown, but I'd never swam the likes of a pool, and decided to give that a try. And it turns out there was a local sprint triathlon in town there in about 3 months. So I'm like, well, running will come back, and maybe I'll try kind of training for this sprint triathlon. Just, I'm going to try to swim more and bike more anyways. And then it turns out Ironman Buffalo Springs 70.3 was a month earlier. So I figured I'll go try that instead. And that's how I got started in triathlon. Got totally sucked in and made all of the newbie mistakes, including doing a 70.3 for my first one and never having used a wetsuit before that race. And
that's amazing.
It was an adventure. But it was after that I was absolutely hooked on triathlon, just the adventure, the challenge of it, the excitement of it. And then I ended up finding a great coach who actually, it was after listening to him for a few months on a podcast and asking questions from the podcast and getting some answers and great tips there. I ended up signing up for a coach at that point who just completely changed how I trained and raced. And that triathlon made such a drastic difference in my life, from working in project management and oil and gas to really seeing what my body was capable of. And I became so hooked on it. I decided to change my career to a triathlon coach about 7 years ago, and wanted to help other people do the same and kind of reach their goals and see what their body was capable of. And, since that first triathlon, I've been fortunate enough to, win an Ironman, qualify for Kona a few times, and win a world championship. But it all comes back to this drive to see what my body is capable of, and through the coaching, help others just kind of discover the same.
That's amazing. Yeah, it just goes to show how different and how wide the backgrounds are.
Absolutely.
When people jump into this sport, there's no one size fits all. You can come from any background and do good in this sport. That's the beauty about it. You get what you put into it. And like you said, the importance of having a good coach. I myself have a great coach. Shout out to Timothy. And he's been in my corner all the time, and just he brings perspective to me, and that's what I like to bring to my athletes as well. It's just a journey that if you share it, it makes it 100% times better than just doing it on your own.
Yeah. And so that leads me to ask, how did you actually get into coaching from this triathlon passion to helping others do the same?
Right. So I've always, like I said before, growing up playing team sports, a coach has always been a figure of authority and knowledge, and somebody you look up to. And that's what I see in my current coach right now. And I've always seen myself as somebody that likes to help. Even back in the day, I was coaching, teenagers in football or in baseball. And I just loved it back then. And before, I didn't feel like I had the the sufficient knowledge to coach athletes, but I got into courses and I started studying and I got into books and I surrounded myself with people who knew what they were talking about, and not just the theory but also the practice, and seeing the results. I just love that part, being like your own um, lab rat on the field, and seeing all the tweaks you can make to somebody and they actually make a difference and an impact into their performance. I just fell in love with that. It's something that's very tangible and something that I wish athletes could feel more often, the sense of a good coaching plan, or if you write off a great session and they get the stimulus that they needed for that session, and then they come back to you, oh, I'm so excited, I lost X amount of pounds, or IPR. That's something that really gets me going, and I just love it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost, you get to share in those wins and losses and achievements at the same time. And for me, having a coach is nice that I just don't have to think about my own training, so I can focus on everyone else.
Yeah, it makes things a lot easier for sure.
Exactly. I swear that's half the benefit, is just take the mental energy out of it. You don't have to worry if you're doing too much, too little, the right things. You just go out, execute the sessions, and it makes it a little less stressful for sure.
Yeah, which, I mean, there's different personalities, but I believe you are on the same boat as me, that it does, even if you're a coach, it doesn't mean that you don't need one.
Absolutely.
So, I think that's something that needs to be said, because, we are not the be all end all, and we do need somebody to bring us back to reality sometimes.
Yeah, I swear half of my coach's job is just telling me to chill out a little bit, because, we're all A-type, driven, motivated. And it's like, okay, sometimes that you need to rest, but sometimes you need someone to force you to rest in there. And that's a lot of what I do for some of my athletes as well.
There you go. How good are you on the days off? Like, are you a good person to be around on a day off, or are you moody and just not fun to be around?
So that has changed drastically over the years. I will say, prior to my first time qualifying for Kona was such a massive, all-consuming kind of goal for me. I got so close in my first Ironman, ended up getting third, and just missed out on the spot with a mechanical.
Ouch.
But, yeah, that was brutal. But back in those days, before I kind of reached that goal, I was very consumed entirely with triathlon. It was my life, and very obsessive about it. And it was really challenging for me to take that downtime, take those off days, and not feel guilty or stressed about it. But now I've got an 8-year-old son. I've got a lot of other things going on in life. I travel for a fair bit, and it's become a lot easier to recognize that you need a lot more balance in your life to stay in the sport long term. There's only so long that you can keep up that intensity without kind of burning out. So now I fully enjoy my rest days and take the downtime and just do other things that excite me.
100%. I think that's a perfect, mindset to have. It's all about balance, and I do get why we get, sort of obsessed with qualifying for a race and stuff. I was the same when I qualified for Kona. I was just very driven and very results driven, and then when you take a step back and you're not enjoying the process, you're like, ooh, am I doing this for the right reasons, or just because I want to get a qualifying slot for World Championships? But I want to be doing this for the rest of my life. And if I keep chasing results just because I want to feel good about them, it's not going to get me anywhere. So I think, like I said, triathlon is supposed to be something that adds up to our lives, that it's supposed to be fun. It's not something that you dread doing it, and that it doesn't have to feel like a chore to do.
Yes. Oh, could not have said it better. It's, this is our hobby. This is something fun. Even the pros, you have to enjoy it to some degree too, whether, while it's a little bit more serious if it's your job. For 99.9% of us, this is something that we're doing for personal satisfaction. So if you're just dreading every session, then it's something should probably change.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Well, speaking of the pros, do you want to chat a little bit about some of the racing that went on this weekend? We had a couple good ones here. Did you watch any of the races going down?
I did. And if I may, I'd like to go first because, I'm a sports nerd and I just love racing. I want to start talking about the Giro D'Italia. Cycling, 3-week race, brutal, and the man of the people, the fan favorite, Primož Roglič, won. It was a nail biter. I mean, there was just 14 seconds separating him and Geraint Thomas, which is a class act. The last second to last stage, it was a time trial, and I could see in Primož's eyes the PTSD from the 2020 Tour de France, where they had to swap bikes for the last incline, and they had the same on this year's Giro, and they did the bike swap perfectly fine, but then there was a mechanical, so he had to change bikes again, and I was just losing it, just thinking, oh, this guy has the worst luck ever. Right. But he held it together and he finished through and got the win, and he was super excited. Also, fun fact, Primož, he was a ski jumper growing up. He had a super bad accident and just started cycling to get better and started doing duathlons. And then, just got bit by the cycling bug, and now he is just a world-class cyclist. So it just goes to show that no matter what you put your mind into it, if you're committed, you can achieve it. And that was an amazing race. And as well, it was an incredible last stage for Mark Cavendish. He got the W on the stage, and it was amazing to see him get that win, being that accomplished sprinter that he has been throughout the years. It was a cool moment to see, everybody just, congratulating him on the win and what it meant to him after, having a few hard times in professional sports. So it was good to see him out there.
Well, and it was so cool to see. So it was Grant Thomas. He was in the lead for quite a while there, and everyone was kind of surprised to see that. And he was actually put time into Roglič, which was incredible. And I think there was a lot of people who were kind of hoping he would come back and actually take that win. But that time trial was unreal. But he ended up beating him by 40 seconds with the mechanical, which is absolutely insane and awesome. And that time trial was just a nail biter. But it was so cool to see, Grant, he ended up getting second place, but losing the win. But it was so cool to see him lead out the sprint, just to give his good buddy of years, Mark Cavendish, a good lead out train so that he could actually get that sprint finish and win that stage. And it turns out it was 15 years ago at the Giro D'Italia that Mark Cavendish won his first stage there. So it's kind of cool to see it come full circle. Yeah, and this will be his last time at the Giro, which is pretty neat to see.
That was amazing. That's what sport is all about. Just seeing him. That's what I said, that G is a class act, doing that for his friend, which are not on the same team, by the way.
Yeah. I know. I wonder how the team felt about that. Awesome. If they're like, okay, you're giving another team the stage win, helping them get it. I wonder if there's any kind of... But it's such a good sporting story. That is one of those ones that makes your heart just kind of swell a little bit, seeing them support each other out there, even though they're on different teams.
Yeah, there are moments in sport that are greater than the sport itself, and I think this one was one of those.
Mm-hmm. And I have to give a shout out to Derek G, because, I'm Canadian, so we have to give the Canadian a shout out, who got second in absolutely everything. This poor man could not get the win. But he was in 7 breakaways, got second on 4 stages, second in the so many of the points countings, and it was pretty cool to see, because I know the Israel team, or Premier Tech Israel team, they weren't expected to do much with a very young team. So it was pretty cool to see him up there the whole time, just kind of in every single attack and just going after it, which made the race interesting for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, Canadians are tough cookies.
We're getting out there.
I did high
tough
school.
weather.
I did high school in Canada, and the weather, it's not meant for the faint-hearted, and it makes hard athletes.
Mhm.
And what about those factor bikes on the Israel Startup Nation? Those are some fast-looking pieces of equipment.
They are wicked. Now, we mentioned in the beginning that Mauna is our presenting sponsor of this podcast. We both work for Mauna Endurance as coaches, and Factor actually just came on as our sponsors. So we're rocking the Factor Hanzo this season to get a little bit of time trial and triathlon speed in there. This bike is pretty wicked.
Yeah, those are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait to got mine set up. Can't wait to get outside and race on it this season. But no, the Factor bikes are absolutely a dream to ride on.
I can tell you that the Hanzo handles beautifully in the Koenig winds.
That's good to hear.
It's so stable, and from my previous bike, I could feel the difference, especially on the crosswinds. It's just night and day. You feel so confident riding into the wind and crosswinds. It's just amazing. It truly feels like a sailboat. Like the wind just takes you. So yeah,
that's wicked.
Awesome bike.
Yeah, and I'll have to admit, so this is the first time I've watched the Giro D'Italia, and I got completely sucked in. I never really watched cycling or got involved in it whatsoever until I do some consulting now for L'Étape by Tour de France, the kind of amateur cycling series of the Tour de France. So I watched the Tour de France for the first time ever last year and absolutely got sucked in by the stories. I didn't know how the bike racing worked, and knowing now a little bit more how the tactics work and everything in there, it makes it really interesting to watch. And I had no idea what I was missing out in the cycling world. I'm glad I'm into it now.
Yeah, and by the way, June 8th, mark the calendar. There's the Netflix show coming out with from the Tour de France last year, so it's going to be an amazing show. Like it has the Drive to Survive vibes, so I think it's going to be amazing. And they followed Jumbo-Visma and another few teams, which if you like cycling and want to geek out, I reckon it's going to be an amazing show to watch.
Oh, I can't wait. And it was so fun to see Jens Vogt doing the commentary and out on the motorcycle. He is such a fun personality of the sport. We had him at our San Antonio race, and just one of my favorite people in the world. He's got his famous tagline, "Shut up, legs," which if you haven't heard him deliver that line, it is just awesome. But he is one of the most passionate about cycling, personal people ever. And he was a perfect addition to that commentary team.
Yeah, he is a very, very funny guy.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should probably talk some triathlon racing. I know we got sucked into the cycling side. We love all endurance sports here.
100%.
So I was really interested to watch the WTCS races this weekend. Did you watch them in Cagliari?
I did watch them. I stayed up all night to watch them, so I deserve something.
That is awesome. Well, at least it's a good race to help out with that.
Both the women's and the men's race were amazing, and if you want to take the lead in this one, or do you want me to start talking about it? Whatever you'll prefer.
Sure. So why don't we jump in with, so it was Georgia Taylor Brown. She kind of had a slow start to the season, but she definitely showed her form breaking away on the final kilometers of the run. But it was really great to see Emma Lombardi actually hold on to her, so it wasn't another case of GTB running away and leaving everyone else in the dust. That makes the racing a lot more fun to watch. And then we had Taylor Spivey, who's just the picture of consistency when it comes to this racing. She held off Cassandra Beaugrand, which, I would have thought Cassandra would run up through that pack to actually catch Spivey, but she ended up holding her off, which was great to see.
She seems to be struggling a bit in Olympic distance racing. Over the sprint distance, she is a weapon. But
Absolutely.
over the Olympic distance, she struggles a bit. Just yeah,
Yeah, and she's
that's
been so
what
good
I
to
see
see.
from background.
Yeah, and she's been like wicked in the like Super League series and stuff. It's just that Olympic distance. I'm curious to see how she goes going into the Paris Olympics, because that would be so cool to be, a French athlete, home soil, really going for it. It'll be interesting to see how she goes over the rest of the season.
Oh, the French are gonna have a hard
Oh,
time choosing who is gonna represent
right?
them at the Olympics, because there's so many good athletes in France. I mean, you can make three whole teams for different nations, and all of the athletes would be French.
100%. Now, speaking of the Olympic selection, it was pretty hard to see Gwen Jorgensen. She's been trying to make the comeback after having her child, after doing running for a while. And unfortunately, in this race, it was her first kind of WTCS race again at the top level. And she was unfortunately one of the last out of the water and ended up calling a day on the bike, which makes her bid for Paris pretty challenging. There are just too many strong American women on the start line right now, where it's getting hard to see her come back, which is a shame because she was so dominant in the sport for so long.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what happened to Gwen.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, she was one of the last out of the water, but listening to her husband Pat, he has said previously that when she started doing triathlon, she would get up these massive panic attacks on the swim.
Really?
And I don't know if this is a case of just coming back to, a high level, high performance type of racing, which, WTCS is. And maybe she got one of those because maybe she needs to get used to all that environment again. But I'm sure that this is not going to be the last we see of Gwen. She is going to fight all the way. I guarantee you that.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And also another new mom, Katie Zafira, she's on the comeback trail as well, trying to make it in there. So yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see how these next few months turn out with so many strong American women. It's just like the French have the same problem. It is so hard to pick who will be part of that Olympic team.
100%. So Jenna, you're a mom. How true is this that once you become a mom, you get like this amazing superpower and boost in performance? Did you have your kid just to have a boost in performance, or?
Well, I will say, it's kind of tough to tell. So I did my first year of triathlon post having my son, or prior, like having my son. And then it was only about a year I was in the sport. And then I took a couple years off, tried to get back to racing, completely burnt myself out with no sleep because my son didn't sleep at all. Then got back into the racing. But I will say I did win the world championships, get the Kona results and Ironman wins and stuff after having my son. So
I mean, I rest my case.
Definitely. But there are actually physiological changes that happen in your body that I actually found did help my performance. Just with the increased blood flow, my lung capacity seems to have increased, but I was also pregnant at altitude in Denver. So it's kind of the right place to help increase that lung capacity. It's weird because you feel like you're running with a different body after you have a child. But there are definitely some benefits between, like I said, the lung capacity, the blood volume. You can hold on to some of those benefits postpartum if you keep training, as long as you don't do what I did and completely burn yourself out trying to train and not sleep and do all that fun stuff. So it sounds like these two women are doing it right and have some help in there to really kind of build back. And especially in Gwen's case, she's so like recently postpartum that it makes the comeback trail challenging. But it is cool to see how your body changes throughout that process as well.
100%. Well, there you go. It would be interesting to see if some of our listeners are moms and to read their experiences. So if you're a mom, feel free to contact us and share your mom superpowers with us. Going back to the race, I really, really thought Beth Potter was going to have it. I thought this course was going to suit her. Challenging bike and and then I thought she was going to have it on the run. But GTB seemed to put everything together, and it was amazing to see her just how dominant she was over this race.
Yeah, when she's on, she's hard to beat. We've seen across the Super League races, the WTCS races. When she's on form, and making that front swim, that's when it makes a big difference.
100%. And also shout out to my fellow countrywoman, Rosa Maria Tapia. She cracked the top 10, coming from a podium finish a couple of weeks ago. So it's amazing to see her up there. I mean, this girl, I think, has a lot of talent and could go places if she keeps doing what she's doing.
Let's jump into the men's race. This was another great one. It was so good to finally see the showdown between Alex Yee and Hayden Wilde with no issues, no penalties, no anything. We've been waiting for a while. It was so cool to see. Hayden was so strong in Yokohama, but he just made the win look so easy. So I was really looking forward to a real race. Though it was kind of off to a rocky start with Alex slipping and falling in the sand on the way out, but thankfully he was right back up and finished in the front group with Hayden. That I was kind of worried for a second that would throw off the whole race and we'd have another almost battle between them.
No, that was amazing to see, and it was good that there was no drama and that Alex clarified after the race that it was his mistake and he slipped. Mm-hmm. But it's amazing to see these two battling it out, and they're good mates. So yeah, it goes to show that you can be super hard competitors and just have respect towards each other and still hug it out at the finish line. And like I said, these two are in a different zip code. 28:31 10K for Alex and 28:35 for Hayden. These boys are moving.
It is absolutely insane to see, and they just run with such great form. But it was interesting to see Blumenfeld. Was kind of hoping to see he would be back up there, so we'd have another showdown like the Olympics where it was him, Hayden, and Alex. But he just didn't quite figure in this after this focus on doing long course and being so successful at it. I'm kind of curious to see if he's going to be able to come back and get back into the sharp pointy end of the Olympic distance racing before Paris.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting to see. And one thing is for sure, and that the Norwegians don't leave anything to chance. And I think they're going to have a few tricks up their sleeves like they did in Tokyo. So it wouldn't surprise me to hear down the line that Christian was doing a 35-hour week on the week of the race, right. And he's just not tapered. And then he went out and ran 20Ks after the race just because it's not his A race. But I'm sure we're going to see a different Christian in the second half of the year. And at the start of next year, I think we're going to have a very, very different athlete as the one we're seeing right now. Because, he still finished 15th in a WTCS race, which is not a bad result considering the depth of the field. Yeah. So I just know that he's going to have something planned for the rest of the Olympic qualification process. And one athlete I wanted to talk about is Jonas Schomburg, the German. He reminds me of what Christian used to do back in the day. I don't know if you remember this, but Christian back in the day, 2015, 2016, he would get off the bike and start running at a crazy fast pace. Yeah. And then everybody would just catch on and drop him. And until it didn't happen, until he won the Olympics. And I think Jonas is trying to pull a Christian. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Jonas win a couple of races down the line, because one day he's not going to crack and he is going to take the win. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, just keep extending that time out in front. And actually, Hayden Wilde was kind of the same way. When he was coming up too, he'd go out hard and just fade away as everyone passed him. But now he's at the front of the race, so it wouldn't be surprising to see Schomburg do the same. It takes guts to kind of race like that. Like a 10K is a long way when you go out hard, like full gas, because the suffering after you build up that lactic acid is pretty rough. But you know what? If you keep pushing, at some point you'll hold on to the end.
Exactly. And yeah, it's like an Alistair Brownlee mentality. I think he's the one
Totally.
that put it up there, just race as hard as you can from from when the gun goes off until you cross the finish line. There's no easy gear. It's just full send, 100% all the time, every day.
Absolutely love it. And we love to watch it. And then for the rest of the podium there, we had defending world champion Leo Berger from France. Was back up there in third. And it was actually a French 3-4-5 with Pierre Lecour and Dorian Konix. So
yeah,
again, this French team, they're going to be absolutely unreal in the relay as well. Like they're going to have some wicked strong teams, and it'll be interesting to see who they pick for those.
I don't see the French losing the mixed team relay in Paris. I can't. You can put money on it right now. I'm telling you, France is going to win the mixed team relays in Paris.
Man, I don't know if the British can get together a pretty good team in there too. And the Americans, the men is a little bit weaker there at the moment, but it's going to be such good racing. That short, fast turnover, it just makes it so fun to watch.
Oh yeah, I just love it. I think we should have more mixed team relays in the age group fields, because I think it would be amazing to see just,
It would be so fun.
60 to 65 mixed team relay, just spending it.
Yes, getting it done. Oh,
Exactly.
That would be a blast to see. And just kind of, you always put out a little bit more when you're racing with teammates, racing with friends. You're willing to just suffer a little bit more when it's a team standing on the line instead of just your own goals.
Yeah, it all of a sudden becomes a bit more important. Not to screw things up when you're part of a team.
Well, the last race we had on our calendar here was Ironman Brazil. Did you happen to watch this one?
I watched parts of it because, our good mate Luciano Taccone, part of the Mauna Endurance team, he was on fuego, and I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible to see him take that win. And the Mauna team was absolutely losing their mind in the WhatsApp group, just seeing him charging towards that finish line. It was so good to see. And I think that was his first ever Ironman win.
Yeah, that was his first ever Ironman win. And he celebrated it like a true Argentinian, like when they won the World Cup in soccer, just over the moon. And I couldn't be happier for him. He is a class act and true gentleman. So, couldn't be happier for him.
Absolutely love to see it. Yeah, the whole team was just cheering our heads off, hoping he would make it over there, and he got it done. And then on the women's side, we had Pamela Oliveira. I'm so bad at that pronunciation of Brazil.
That's right.
She won this weekend, and it's funny to see actually. Taccone and Oliveira were both 54th in the PTO World Ranking. So it was cool to see her defend her title from last year. And she's got quite the podium streak going on right now with 100% on home soil.
Yeah. And, both Olympians, Pamela Oliveira from, Brazil, she actually won the bronze medal at the Pan American Games that happened in Guadalajara, Mexico, back in 2011. So she's been around for a while, and making the transition to long course, it's just amazing to see, as well as Luciano. She just dominated. She was the only female pro who cracked 3 hours for the marathon. Yeah. So that just goes to, and the conditions were super, super hard. It was raining throughout the marathon, so that would obviously slow them down a bit. But she back in the ITU days, she was an amazing swim biker. And you can see her biking pedigree, biking a 450. That's 9 minutes faster than the second fastest women. So just amazing to see her dominating like that.
Oh, she absolutely crushed it. It was so good to see. No, a great day of racing. Great weekend of racing. We had, I'm so bad at these pronunciations. You were much better at them. But in the men's, we had Reynaldo Colucci and Andre Lopez round out the podium.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then Mariana Borges de Andrade. Oh my goodness. finishing second, and Alex Watt in third. That one I can say.
There you go.
I might leave the pronunciations to you going forward here. But no, it was just fun to see so much great racing on this weekend. We're starting to get into the thick of the season, and it's just fun to watch these races. I find they keep me inspired and pushing, and my hard bike workouts feel a little bit easier when they are suffering so much more than I am and actually have something on the line. I'm like, okay, I can't complain.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. You start to feel a bit less sorry for yourself when you're in the middle of an interval training session and these guys have 5 hours left of racing and you're like, I think I can squeeze these 8 minutes left on the interval. I think I can do that 100%.
Exactly. So let's move into something. We're going to call it our WTF moment of the week. Hopefully we'll have some fun ones of these, and there always seems to be something going on in triathlon. Did you see this? Arthur Horseau, the winner of Ironman Lanzarote, he actually smashed the course record, had an incredible victory, and should have gotten a slot to the World Championships, but he was late to the awards ceremony and they gave it away on a roll down. Did you see this or hear about this?
I heard about it, and I've heard numerous stories about what happened. I've heard that the organization didn't pick him up at the hotel. I've heard that he missed the bus. So many stories, but it's just yeah, WTF. Like
right?
what are you doing, guy? Yes.
Yeah. So originally I heard it was that it was an Ironman bus or shuttle that was supposed to take him over there, and they were late, and that's why he was late. But I looked on his social media, because we can all do a little social media stalking these days. And
there you go.
He said that it was his mistake in there, unfortunately. And that, man, after all that effort and what goes into racing something like that, to be 5 minutes late to the ceremony and miss that slot that's got to be devastating.
I mean, another thing could be is that he was like, I hate Ironman racing and I'm just gonna do this one and be done. I'm just gonna play the card of, I missed the bus and I just don't want to do one anymore for the rest of my life.
I can't do it again.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No, you know what? I felt
no, but I did.
Numerous times during the race. I am never doing this again.
Yeah. We've all been there, and then as soon as you cross the finish line, you're like, when's the next one?
Exactly. A couple beers after. It takes me a few beers, and then I'm like, okay, I gotta sign up again. But hopefully Ironman will work with him. I know it's something that in the pro briefing, they're very clear about. You have to be there to get your spot, but it just, that sucks. Hopefully they'll be able to work something out, because he definitely earned that spot.
Yeah, he earned it. And if he wants to go to the world champs, he should. I mean, like you said, he earned it. And it would be a shame to see Ironman do shady stuff and not giving him an entry. It would be just devastating, because it's not like you can race an Ironman every weekend. To try to qualify,
they bend the rules kind of when they want to, with celebrity spots and kind of wild card slots and stuff. So it's like, okay, well, come on, there's room for one more, especially now that we're talking about it in Nice. So apparently these Nice roll down spots for the men's race is going to be in Nice this year instead of Kona. Are rolling and getting to the point where they're starting to call out, does anybody want the slot?
Yeah, it's like what happened in St. George. Like, you would get random emails like, hey, remember it? You did an Ironman back in 1998?
Yeah.
Do you want to go to Worlds?
Absolutely. Like, there's nothing like Kona, and some of the appeal, and what actually drove me to really pursue getting that Kona spot so hard was, you really had to do something special. You had to have a good day. You had to really go to your limits to qualify and earn that world championship spot. And when you move it away from Kona, when you make so many more slots available, it doesn't have that same prestige. And especially when it's on an Ironman course where you can go do Ironman Nice a little bit earlier for $500-$600 cheaper. There'll probably be more people there, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, 100%. No, I totally agree with you. I think Kona is part of why our sport is
Mhm.
as good as it is. There is a magic around this island, and there is something that people just want to be part of Kona,
Yeah, it is the
and do
history.
Ironman Kona. Exactly, it's where the sport was born. It's tradition. I think Jan Frodeno said it once perfectly. Kona is the Wimbledon of our sport. Like
And yeah, and
it's
that's
it's the
another
one
thing.
race people ask you
Yeah.
if you've done. No matter if you're an age group or a pro. I do understand why. I mean, I do understand if the pro field moves around from time to time to give different athletes different chances to win, but that's pro racing. But when it comes to age group racing, I truly believe Kona is a place to have the world champs for the age group field. If the pro field moves around, because it's what everybody wants to do. You don't want to go to Nice for a world championships. You can go to Nice every weekend. Hawaii is special. It's an island in the middle of the Pacific. Uh, there's a magic to it, and everybody wants to ride in the crazy crosswinds and
Yes.
go down the energy lab and be part of something that they've been wanting to do for a long time, really.
Absolutely. And that's something too, like if it's fine to move around the pro race. I think if you do that though, you need to keep the men's and women's race together. Like it's such a, triathlon media isn't huge, sponsorship dollars aren't massive. By separating the men and women, you're kind of, I think it's great to have the opportunity to see them on different days, but I think it
Yeah,
really dilutes the whole like pro race experience if you have the men's and women's championships in different locations around the
yeah,
world at different times of year. It really, I know, I can't imagine that like on the Kona Pier at the expo there, it's not going to have the same energy because, sponsors are going to have to make the decision between going to Kona or going to Nice. And I'll be honest, most of the time, the women's race won't get the same attention or investment if they're separating out like that. And it just, again, doesn't have that same vibe of the best going against each other, men's and women's on the same course, just having the same energy and coverage if they were
yeah,
both together.
yeah. I totally agree. And triathlon has been one of the other sports that's been very, very equal in terms of men and women prize money, opportunities, and it just doesn't make sense to have the 2 days be running on different dates and different venues.
Different
Just doesn't make
continents.
any sense to me. To continents. Imagine this. Imagine this.
Mm.
Say your partner does triathlon as well, and
Oh, yeah.
he or she qualifies for the world championships. Where do you go? Like, who gets dibs on which
Mm.
world champs event? Because it's an expensive sport, the sport that we're into, and you're talking about a trip to Europe and then coming back and then doing a trip to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a lot. It's a lot, and also, like, pro tip: if you're single and you want to snatch a triathlete girlfriend, come to Kona in October,
There you
and there's
go.
going to be plenty of women.
Fede's got the pro tips here. Yeah,
There you go.
some very fit, motivated women out there.
Yeah, there you go.
That is a good take. No, it'll be interesting. I know it was kind of crazy in Kona. They had way too many people on the island in racing last year with 2 days of racing for both the pros and amateurs. So yeah, I'm curious when I go down there this year to see what the vibe is like with having, the sponsors, the field, everything separated
Yeah,
out and halved or potentially less than half. Like, yeah, curious to see.
we'll see how it plays out, but I am pro of keeping Kona where it is.
Mhm.
Uh, we need to. I mean, if we want our sport to grow, we need to keep the magic of Kona in Kona, and maybe Ironman needs to work a deal with the PTO, and they need to stop fighting if they truly want to grow the sport. I
Yeah, good luck
think,
with that.
yeah. I mean, this is my letter to Santa Claus, but that's
There we
that's the
go.
ideal world, having the PTO, Ironman, Challenge, Super League, all working together towards the same goal, that'll be just what we need for the sport. And it happens in other sports, there's different entities, and each one has their world championships at different dates. They don't fight with each other, and it just nurtures the sport in a better way. So yeah, I mean, we're all in the same boat and we want to grow the sport. So let's talk, let's give the sport a chance to get out there and reach more eyeballs and exposure. And I think having the world championships in Kona, both for men and women on the same day, same time as always, it's the way to go.
Absolutely. Well, let's move on here to another segment that we're going to have going on. And actually, this is, like I mentioned before, the way I found my own coach, is we're going to take some questions from the audience. We were lucky enough to have a few people kind of write in and have some questions for us, the coaches. And each week we'll be doing this. So feel free. Actually, I should put a little plug in here. Go on Instagram and follow at Another Triathlon Podcast. And that's a great place where you can submit your questions. We'll have a form in the link in the bio there where you can submit them anytime. And we will go week after week and answer some of your burning questions. So we will jump in with our first question here from Romaine. He asked us, how can I select my first Ironman race? There are so many choices out there. Now, as a coach, what advice would you give him?
Well, I would say, Romaine, what do you want to get from your experience? Do you want to finish your Ironman? Do you want to have fun, which is usually the case for the first one? You want to pick a course that suits your strengths and that you don't have to stress about getting, that it's easy to get. And I would say, let's pick a date 6 to 8 months down the line, and where you don't have any social commitments or any big commitments. Like one of my best friends did an Ironman the week before his wedding. No bueno.
Jeez. That's a way to get in trouble or start off rough.
There you go. Yeah. So don't do that, and find a course that suits you. And if you have a plan, you can make it work. That's what I would say, just, and don't rush it. I would say, don't rush doing an Ironman. Because if you want to do one, don't just do one because you can sign up. Do one because you have the time, you have the commitment, you have the drive, and it's something that comes from within, not something that you think it would be cool doing. That's what I would say. What about you, Jenna?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with Ironman, like it is such a big ask on your body. You have to sacrifice some time and energy for it. Definitely step one is make sure that you actually want to do one. I think a lot of people get swept up in the idea of Ironman. But when you're looking at actually picking the course, so you want to make it as easy as possible on yourself for your first one. If it is possible to find an Ironman that you can drive to where you don't have to pack up your bike, where you don't have to worry about rebuilding it on the other side, I find that's always the easiest way to go, even if it is a bit of a road trip, because most triathletes, now I'm generalizing here entirely, are not great bike mechanics. If you're doing your first Ironman, odds are you don't have a ton of experience packing and building your bike. So if that is the case for you, then finding something that is easy to get to is absolutely key. And then from there, take a look, like that I mentioned, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What do you enjoy? One course that could be really great is maybe if you don't like swimming, you do something like one of the Chattanooga races because you got a downstream swim, or is it, I think Cancun's the other one with a really
Cozumel. Yeah.
Cozumel. Sorry. Yeah. So find a race where you're going to be able to wear a wetsuit, or there's a current. If the swim really makes you nervous and you're really nervous about that cutoff time, there are definitely races that can accommodate that. If you're a strong cyclist, maybe go for something hilly because it's something you'll enjoy and will make it fun. If you're worried about making that cutoff time, they've got flatter races that make that a little bit easier. So, you know what? The biggest thing I think would be just finding something that's easy to get to. Take a look at your training and what your numbers are kind of telling you. If you're super worried about the cutoffs, go for something flatter. If you're feeling strong and kind of training well, then really do what sounds interesting. Go somewhere that sounds fun. Like this is, again, something you're supposed to have fun with. But at the end of the day, the biggest factor is just getting in the training, giving yourself time to build up. And it's going to be, oh, there's nothing like hearing you are an Ironman for the first time, just knowing everything that went into it.
100%. Yeah, that's what makes everything worthwhile, having accomplished this gigantic goal of crossing the finish line after a long, long day. It's amazing. And I wish more people experience it, because it'll change your life. I truly, truly guarantee you that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you have to be around the sport, but it'll give you the tools you need to deal with everything in life, adversity, and how to cope with your business and how to handle stressful situations. I think triathlon training and Ironman training, it's as good as life training as anything else out there.
Absolutely. So we've got another question here from Jared. He asks, with this being a peak sport, how do you handle and overcome disappointment? What do you think?
This is a great question. Thank you, Jared, for your question. I think it's very important to separate the athlete from the person. What I mean by this is we are not our race results. A race does not define who we are as a person. It means we just executed well that day, but I'm not going to be a better or a worse person from it. I just executed well, and like so, if I didn't have I had a great race, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad athlete. It's just what happened in the day, and it's a hard pill to swallow if you put a lot of time and commitment and effort towards a goal, and then you don't have the result you wanted. You had a flat tire or a mechanical or a stomach bug or whatever. But as long as you're aware that you put everything you could towards that race and that you did everything you could on that day, you could have the best numbers leading up to the race. But if on race day your power's not there or your paces are not there, you can only execute with what you've got on the day. So just be able to adapt in different situations and be conscious that you are not your races. Your races do not define who you are.
That is such a great perspective and a healthy one in there. And something that I always like that my coach said to me is, if you're only at 80% on race day, give 100% of that 80%. Give it everything you actually have on that day. And that's how you can get some satisfaction of those days that don't quite go your way.
Exactly. There's always something to be grateful for on race day. I mean, the first one is finishing. Everything else is just icing on the cake.
Yeah. And for me, so the way I kind of handle it when I have disappointing races, because like I said, I'm pretty competitive and for quite a while was very obsessive about the sport, more than I should be. But what I would do is, if I had a bad result, it was always a learning opportunity. Like, it's so cliche, but you do learn a lot more from the races that don't go well than from the ones that go perfectly. So when I did have a bad day, I gave myself 24 hours to look back on it, say, okay, what went right? What went wrong? How can I use this information and this data, because I'm an absolute geek for the data, to be better going forward? And then that kind of not getting that result I wanted was fuel for the fire to kind of recommit and get back to it and just reaffirm to myself that these goals matter to me. So I'm going to put in the time and effort to kind of chase the goals that I want to get. But after that 24 hours, that was like, I gave myself that time limit, because if you don't, then you can kind of dwell on it for a long time. And then that starts to affect your real life, affects your training, your headspace. So once that 24 hours is up, it's like, hey, take the lessons learned, move on. You've got another opportunity around the corner, because there's always going to be more racing.
100%. You said it very, very well there. You give yourself some time to reflect and then move on.
Yeah, there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah. There's always going to be another race. There's always going to be another anything. Just move on and celebrate when you do a good job, and feel bad about yourself for 24 hours if you do a bad job, but then move on. Win, lose, just on to the next one.
Exactly.
One of my favorite athletes of all time is Tom Brady, and I remember he said during an interview, they asked him, "So, Tom, what's your favorite Super Bowl ring?" And what he answered stuck with me. And he said, "The next one." That's my
I like
favorite.
that.
So,
Mhm.
just move on.
Keep moving forward. Well, with that, I think we will call this first episode complete. It has been so good to chat with you, talk all things racing, give a little advice, and have some fun with it. We are going to be back again next week to chat some more racing, have some more advice, and we want to hear your questions. So definitely go follow Another Triathlon Podcast on Instagram and send in any questions you have there. It was so great to chat with you, Fede.
Yeah, you too, Jenna. And keep safe, everyone. Keep training hard, and we'll see you next week.